big game on the rookie contract, so we shall see. Now, I was really sold on Joe Burrow. One player that I think we kind of agree on is I just don't see it with Justin Herbert, man. Now, I will give him the benefit of the doubt. I think there are some tools to work with. He's got the strong arm. He's mobile enough in the NFL today where quarterbacks kind of have to be mobile. You know, the statue in the pocket, the Phillip Rivers, you know, of the world. They're just not gonna fully prosper, in my opinion, these days anymore. So Herbert has the tools, but I've compared Justin Herbert to a McDonald's burger in the past. You know, when you watch a McDonald's commercial, you know, the burger looks juicy, it looks tasty on the screen, and then when you buy it, it's fine, but sometimes it disappoints you. And look, I think that the Chargers have a very good roster, and the ideal situation is hopefully Justin Herbert sits for a little bit behind Tyrod Taylor, hopefully he learns, and I'm going to be honest with you, he has a lot of good players around him, so he could prove me wrong, but I gotta see it to believe it, Brett. I really do. I don't know if he'll fully flame out with the Chargers just because they have a lot of talent around him. Very good wide receivers. They have an improved offensive line. Very good running backs. But he's late on a lot of throws. Doesn't anticipate very well. He struggles to read defenses. At times, he's wildly inaccurate. He's just not a natural at the position, in my opinion. He's very robotic in my eyes, you know. And, you know, I can understand why a team would go all in on someone like Patrick Mahomes or Jordan Love, you know, who had turnovers in college, because I see their natural ability to play the position. Herbert, I just don't see it. I think that he gets a lot of credit for the way he looks and for his potential, but we have to look at what's on the film. And he played 4 years at Oregon, and I just did not see the progression that I want to see from him. And I'm just not sold on Justin Herbert. And I don't think you are sold on Justin Herbert too much. So kind of talk about the situation he's going into. I do think that he's in a position to succeed if he's about that life, but I don't know, man. I just think that the Chargers are going to be eventually disappointed, especially in a division with Drew Lock and Patrick Mahomes. We'll see what the Raiders do at quarterback, but either way, I think the Chargers are going to be the third best team for the next couple years, simply because I don't think that Justin Herbert's going to cut it. What do you think?
Yeah, and the thing with Herbert is when you look at what he was surrounded by in Oregon, were his receivers great? Not really, at least for the first half of the season. They were dealing with some injury issues, but what's even more important than that is the offensive line, and he had the best offensive line in all of college football. That was a NFL offensive line in front of him. You know, at least 4 of them will probably end up as starters at some point in their career, which is pretty insane for a single college team. And so you would think, okay, if he has perfect pockets the majority of the time, keep in mind his left tackle next year is probably the best player in next year's draft, and that's saying a lot. Penei Sewell, keep an eye on him. He's going to be a top 3 to 5 pick, guaranteed. You know, so even with those perfect pockets, you would expect him to just absolutely shred people when he can just stand in there and fire. But he had a missed accuracy percentage. Like, he was missing throws to open receivers 20% of the time, which is insanely high. Like, you know, guys were wide open and he flat out missed. Like, that is an extremely high rate. His actual completion percentage was, I think, in the mid to high 60s, which sounds good, but when you factor in that he threw screens at nearly 25% rate, which is absurd. Like, even Kyler Murray, who as an NFL quarterback threw it at about 18%, which was the highest ever recorded, he still far exceeded Kyler Murray's rate, and that's saying something. And so, you know, if you're throwing screens that much and your overall completion percentage is like still below 70, like that's a major concern for me. And then you look at the tape and just his actual decision-making process. Like, he's slow to process sometimes. Like, he'll stick on his first read to the point where his second read, it isn't open by the time he finally moves to it. Or sometimes he'll stick on the first read so long that even when the window was there, he'll throw it late and then it's not open. You know, there are some wow throws here and there, but I think people pay so much attention to the 3 great throws a game that they ignore the 7 bad throws a game, and I don't see it. I think he's probably a couple of years away from maybe being ready to start, but even then, you know, he started for 4 years in college and didn't really get much better despite having an all-American type offensive line. So I don't necessarily expect him to start magically progressing in the NFL either. So I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of the pick. I didn't have a first round grade on him. If the Chargers were going to take anybody after missing out on Tua, I would have just waited till the early second round and taken Jalen Hurts. And I honestly think Hurts is a better quarterback, and I think their franchise would be in a better spot if they use that pick on somebody else and then grab Jalen later.
Yeah, I thought they would potentially go out and get Cam Newton. I think they gave Cam Newton a look for whatever reason. They just didn't, pull that through. And I thought that Jordan Love was a pretty good pick if they were going to go quarterback. So, yeah, I'm not too sold on Justin Herbert, but we shall see. I think that he's in a pretty good situation as far as his roster goes, but only time will tell. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.